Hello there and welcome. So in this video I'm just going to talk about something that's been very apparent to me since I started training, and it's still something that I see a lot that comes through on many comments from the viewers on this channel. So this video is directed at people who are struggling to learn to ride a motorcycle. And I have seen in the past comments, anyone can do it, oh there must be something wrong, you know, riding a motorbike is easy, what's all the fuss about, how come you didn't get through your CBT on the first day and all the rest of it. And those comments are not helpful for people who genuinely have a problem learning to ride a motorcycle. So of course the first thing to say is that we're all different, and in recent times the DVSA, who regulate motorcycle instructors in the UK, have produced guidelines or rules, or whichever way you want to look at it, that talks about client-centered learning. So it isn't just a case that you just turn up, do your CBT and just get thrown loads of information and provided instructors give you the information, that's the end of it. That's not what we're looking for, and good schools never were about that. What we're absolutely looking for is for instructors to be able to give information over to new riders, to build confidence, to build skill levels, to build ability, and tailor that to the individual client or student. And ultimately the question is, has learning taken place? There's no point in giving someone a CBT if they haven't learnt anything just because they've attended for the day. So many people are under the illusion that a CBT is a day's course, and you often hear the word pass or fail. I've passed or failed my CBT. Well, you haven't, because it's not a test. So a CBT is a course of training which the content of which is prescribed by law, and it actually comes under the driving licence regulations. So legally you have to be trained to each element, each 5 elements, A to E, of the content of the CBT. And one really important part of that is the last element, element E, which is the road ride. And the law says you must do at least 2 hours on-road training. So a CBT, as we've said, is not a day's course. It takes as long as it takes. It just happens to work out that for many people they will and can get through the course satisfactorily in a day. But for many people out there, that's not always a possibility. And then people think that they've done something bad, or they're not good enough, or whatever it might be. You know, I've seen students of all sorts of capabilities over the years. And very often, people that struggle initially can go on and do very, very well indeed. You know, what we might call a slow burner. You know, they take a little bit more time to get hold of things. They need a little bit more nurturing, if you like, a little bit more care, but you know, when they get there, they get there. And I would much rather teach in that way. I think it's very important that we don't rush people through and that people feel comfortable. So I remember when I started training many years ago, I had the fortune to train a gentleman who struggled massively, and I think his CBT took several visits to me over a period of probably a couple or 3 months even. And he used to come and see me you know, for a couple of hours a week or so, and we would just gradually build him up, and it took ages. And he was only on an automatic moped. It was on his bucket list. He was a more mature gentleman, and it's something he just wanted to do to say that he could do it. He didn't want to get a full licence or anything. And as a new instructor, it was a fabulous learning process for me to have the privilege of training him, because I had to dig deep and I had to look at so many different ways of trying to achieve his skill levels and to get him through his CBT so that he'd learn what he needed to learn. And ironically, getting through element C, the off-road training, was the real hard part for him. He struggled and he struggled, and he wouldn't lean the bike, and he didn't have coordination, and this went on and on. But he wanted to do it, and we actually enjoyed ourselves. It was a great time. And then eventually the day came where he'd reached a level of competence that was sufficient to go out on the road. And this guy lived in London and he was used to heavy traffic. And the transformation was amazing. Once he'd actually got the machine handling skills, we went out on the road and I had to say very little to him. He took to it like a duck to water, and the leap, the transformation was massive. So what I sometimes hear from people is that they've attempted to do a CBT and they were told that they weren't capable of riding, or they weren't good enough, or motorcycling wasn't for them, and they felt very, very dejected. They've had a bad experience. Some people maybe just give up, some people just get very frustrated. And here's the thing, motorcycle instructors should be able to tailor their training to you to get you where you need to be. And in 12 years I can only think of 2 or 3 people who I've had to say, I really don't think motorcycling is for you. In 2 of those cases they were severe safety issues where I just thought, if this carries on, I know what I'm going to be reading in the papers or online. And in one other case, really nice chap, just too young, just couldn't get it. And he got it up to a point, and we actually sent him away to do car driving lessons because we thought for him to enhance his road skills he might feel more comfortable in a car. And you know, he went away and did that, and then he came back to us. But there was something in him that could not go over 30 mile an hour on a motorbike. It just could not. And we tried different instructors, we tried different methods, we tried everything which way we could. And sadly, we had to say to him, look, at the moment we don't know what else to do with you. And you know, that was down to him. We literally run out of options. But in most cases we can take our time, we can persevere, we can look at different things. And I've had students who have been involved in collisions, sometimes on a bike, sometimes in a car, and it's given them a fear factor for certain things on the road, and we have to break down those barriers and work together to get you over that, to give you the confidence. So the bottom line is, if you're one of those people who can relate to what I'm saying here, if you're one of those people who've not had a good experience learning to ride, don't give up. There's always another instructor out there that's going to be prepared to spend the time. And don't expect to get through a CBT in a day. Don't expect to learn to ride a motorbike overnight, despite what many people might actually say to you and try and make you feel small because you can't do it. You need time to develop good skills. Just go with it at your pace. Learning is a very individualistic thing. That's why many people didn't like school, because there was 30 people in a class maybe, all herded together, and you all just got taught. And the people that got it and did very well. There was the ones in the middle who were sort of okay, and then you had the others that didn't get it, didn't get the individual tuition, and suffered and hated school and hated learning. And that's really sad. It's not like that in the world of motorcycle training, and it never should be. If you want to ride a bike and if you want to invest in your time, then instructors should be willing to invest in you and bring the best out of you. And if your instructor doesn't do that, I just suggest you find someone that does. Because once you start riding on 2 wheels, you're going to thoroughly enjoy it. If you've got any problems, by all means just drop us a line and I'll do my best to guide you in what way that I can. So until next time, ride safe and take care.